Listen to Mark Levin's critique of the Massie race. It's identical to the CBS News critique of the race, which is Massie has no valid points. It's impossible to imagine Massie could be opposing aid to Israel except out of personal hatred, animus, out of anti-Semitism. It's impossible to imagine any American could support something so crazy as not sending billions to Israel. So the only people supporting Massie must be radical jihadis.
Mind you guys,
here's Mark Levin.
Mind you guys, like it's literally 1 billion, a billy a day that it's costing the U.S. right now, taxpayers, $1 billion a day to continue the war in Iran. Just throwing that out there. So if somebody says, oh, let's not do that because we have many issues at home, then you're an anti-Semite, apparently. Make it make sense, yo.
I'm looking at the support from Massie. It's the most radical jihadis in our country. It is Democrats. It is Tlaib. I mean, think of it. It's Rand Paul, the reprobates, the miscreants, and I underscore the malcontents, are moving behind Massie. And they're raising tons of money. And Massie is supported by all the elements that support Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Iran. Why is that? He's supported by all the American haters and Jew haters and many of the Christian haters in this country. Why is that?
They're Jew haters. They support Islamic Jihad, whatever that is. I mean, it's actually not, it's so ludicrous that it's funny. It's precisely what the CBS News guy just said to him. Well, clearly you're a Jew hater. You're an anti-Semite. And Massie is the perfect foil for this because he sincerely isn't. He doesn't even fully understand what the guy's talking about. No, I just don't think we should send money to a foreign country. They're mad at Massie. Why? One Republican out of 217 who hasn't taken money from the Israeli lobby. Why are they so mad at him? Why was it so important for the Israeli lobby to spend tens of millions of dollars to crush this guy?
I have to question, right? Like, how the heck did this guy even get in there in the first place? Because if we're meant to believe that like Israel is kind of controlling everything happening in the US and in politics, then how did Thomas Massie get in there in the first place? I'm just curious.
It wasn't stopping really the status quo in any way. He did help get some of the Epstein files released, and God bless him for that. He tried his hardest. But one man against 216 other members of his party is not going to get very far by definition, so why just leave him alone? Why force the issue? Why are they so mad at this guy? Why is Trump so mad at him? Why is Miriam Adelson so mad? And of course, the answer is because Thomas Massie was willing to say out loud that there is an Israel lobby. There is a foreign country whose supporters in the United States, in positions of prominence, are making campaign contributions purely on the basis of what's good for a foreign country. Their loyalty is not to the United States, it's to a foreign country. Well, that's just true. It's just a fact. But you can't say that. Why can't you say it? Well, because it's true. That's why. If it was a lie, if you were claiming the earth was flat, they'd ignore you. But precisely because it is true, it's the truest thing. In fact, it's the definitive fact in American politics. You're not allowed to say it. And he did. Now, why do we say that's true? Isn't that an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory? Well, I don't know. Let's go to the Israeli press, which for all its many faults is a little bit more honest. It's a little bit less constipated in its use of language. They can kind of say things out loud because who's watching? Haaretz, the traditionally liberal paper in Israel, publishes an English language edition. And here was its headline yesterday. Look at this. There it is. The most consequential Republican primary for Israel is happening in Kentucky. Now, why would the Republican primary in the 4th district of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, a place doubtless most Israelis have never visited or can locate, why would that be so important for Israel? Well, because lots of things they tell you are not true are entirely true. First among them is Israel could not exist without the United States in its present form. Its ambitions would be at best vastly curtailed because everything outside its borders that Israel does is done with American tax dollars and with the backstop of the lives of American servicemen. So without that, the Greater Israel Project is done. Israel can exist in its 48 borders, maybe. It probably can't hold on to its 67 borders, which is to say, Gaza, West Bank, it's going to be a slog. Because the United States makes that possible. Israel's expansion is paid for and guaranteed by the United States taxpayer. And anyone who says that out loud, that is absolutely true. There's nothing more true in global politics than that. But anyone who says it reveals the game and must be destroyed. And that's why even in Israel, they know that beating Thomas Massie is priority number one. But on its face, that sounds like an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. A Republican primary in a minor Republican state, not even a state, a commonwealth, whatever that is being orchestrated from Israel with Israel's interests in mind, not America's interests? What are you, a Nazi? Not in Israel, you're not if you say that, because it's true. And they said it. So Massie says, well, it's AIPAC, the Republican Jewish Coalition. They're the ones opposing me. It's not a groundswell of support from within the district for my opponent, Ed, whatever his name is, Galrin or Galrine. No one even knows how to pronounce his name. He's not is he a real person? I don't know. His only real meaningful campaign pledge is to bring back the draft. The draft? How many people are in support of a draft? How many people of draft age are in support of a draft? None. Why would you want a draft? Do the Joint Chiefs want a draft? Would it make the military better if we had a draft? Why would we have a draft? When entire wars are fought with drones, do we need a draft? Ed Galrin or Galrine or whatever this composite figure is calling himself wants a draft. Can you think of a more totalitarian and less popular position for any person running for office to take than I want a draft? Vote for me and I will take your child and send him to go die for Israel. Is that actually a campaign pledge? He made that pledge. So Massie's point is this guy who refused to have a single debate with the incumbent, not one, who has no obvious support in the district, this guy only has a chance because AIPAC, from whom I've never taken a dollar, the only Republican who's never taken money from AIPAC is on his side. That's Thomas Massie's position, to which CBS News and Mark Levin and all the other dumb people in MAGA world, that's anti-Semitic. Really now? Let's see what AIPAC has to say about it. Minutes after Massie was declared the loser, AIPAC, the dreaded AIPAC, whose name we're not allowed to say, AIPAC sent out this tweet in public on Twitter. Here's what they said. We're quoting, pro-Israel Americans are proud to help defeat anti-Israeli candidates. Being pro-Israel is good policy and good politics. And good politics, exclamation point. In other words, the second Massie loses, AIPAC announces, we did it. We did it. We bumped this guy off. He criticized us. We're literally an unregistered foreign lobby who exists not to help the United States or its citizens, but a foreign country that couldn't exist without our aid anyway, whose aims are so far from ours that they are hurting us gravely, whose population may love Trump, but in a lot of ways hate Christian Americans. That's why they're spitting on nuns. That country doesn't like this member of Congress, therefore we're going to take him out. And by the way, we did.
So the question is, what are people going to do about it? Like, what can be done about it? What recourse do we have in a case like this where we're getting foreign interference?